just the buzz and the excitement surrounding this team this year?
Well, we've got 8 out of our top 9 players back, and including Alex Hicks. He would really be 9 out of 10, but Alex sat out last year, and so we've got more experience back than since we've been here as a staff. It's the most experience we've had back, and to go with those 9 guys coming back, we added 4 players, 3 of whom were older guys, 2 junior college transfers and a grad transfer in Devon Walker. So the first thing that stands out about where we are in our practice at this point with practice is that we're so much more experienced and everything is so much more efficient. Because guys know what you're doing. You know, when you've had guys in the program at least 1 year, 2 years, things flow a lot more smoothly. So we're really pleased with where we are at this particular point, as opposed to where we've been in the past, just because of the experience factor.
What are the goals that you've set for your team thus far?
Well, we're not one of those teams. We don't set a lot of specific goals. Our mantra is we're going to try to bring it every day. We want them to focus on every single day, bring the best attitude and effort possible. And we think when you put enough talent in the room and enough character in the room, when you do those 2 things on a daily basis, then that's when success will come. And now our next step as a program is to win on the court. We've done some really good things off the court. Recruiting has gone real well. We've done some things academically real well, but none of those things have affected the 1-loss record and the conference standings yet. And that's where our next natural step is as a program.
How do you build off last year? You had a lot of close losses, played a lot of tough teams really well. How do you build off that success now with having a lot of returning players and recruiting as well as you did?
Well, our biggest challenge right now is to try to make it all about us and not be an individual focus, because we probably have 11 players, 11 to 12 players who could easily be in a rotation. But in basketball, it's hard to do that. I've certainly, in my career, I've never been on a staff or been a part of a team that tried to play more than 8 or 9 guys, and we have the numbers to play more than 8 or 9 guys, and so we've got to start moving now from the practice segment of our season into the exhibition game and into the opener next week. We've got to start establishing some roles, and that's sometimes the toughest challenge when you have a team with a lot of guys who not only expect to play but are capable of playing, and we've got to make it all about the team and not individual. And that's easy. It's easy to say before you get to that point, and everybody faces those same challenges, but it's really something our team's going to have to be good at.
Looking at your non-conference schedule, going all over the country a couple of times, it strikes me that by the time January rolls around with that kind of a schedule, you're going to have a pretty good idea where you are.
No doubt, Barry. I mean, we thought that it's really important that we test this team early. And that's why you see the schedule as it is. I think it's important that we establish an identity on the road early, because if you look at our league schedule, they didn't do us any favors. We open up on the road at our rival game at South Alabama. Then we go to Georgia Southern and Georgia State, ranked in the top 4 in the league. Those are our first 3 road games, and our opening home game is UT Arlington, widespread favorite to win the league. So we thought it was important to establish that road identity. And scheduling can be tricky sometimes. We have that one stretch where we go from Eastern Illinois to San Francisco to Hawaii in a 5-day span. But that the big part of that was Hawaii. They were so desperate for that last home game that they part of the deal to play out there this year was the following year we're in the Rainbow Classic, which was one of the more traditional opening season tournaments. So that'll be a tough challenge. But we told our team last week, we said with our depth and our athleticism, it shouldn't affect this team like it would another team. And we've got guys, if somebody's facing fatigue on a trip like that they should be able to fight through it and next man up with our depth.
A lot of the focus this year is going to be shutting down Wes and Devon. Who are some people that you can see kind of stepping up, if these guys do get shut down with the game?
Well, Jordan Venardo comes to mind immediately. I mean, he had a tremendous freshman year. If you look back in non-conference play, he was probably the clear favorite heading into league play to be the freshman of the year in the conference. He got hurt a couple times, and then he became probably the object of the other team's scouting report because he had done so well. But if you look back, he had a double-double opening up the season at South Florida. He had a double-double at Seton Hall, who won the Big East tournament and played in the NCAA tournament. He had 18 and 7 at Ole Miss. So he had a tremendous non-conference, and he finished that with, he still had a great year. He just couldn't sustain it at that level, and our team wasn't ready for anybody else to step up and carry the load when he didn't do that. But he comes to mind immediately. Then a couple of guys you didn't mention. Alex Hicks was sitting out last year. We played a scrimmage last weekend. He had 15 points and 6 rebounds in about 25 minutes, and he's not near 100% coming off that knee surgery he had in March, but he's further along than we thought he'd be at this point. But Alex is a tremendously talented offensive player. We've got to get him better defensively and quickly, and his legs got to continue to heal. But he's a guy that's going to be down the line. Is going to be one of the better players in this league. He's just that talented and has great height and just has a great natural feel for the game. Another guy who can really score is Kevin Baker, the young man we brought in from Pensacola, signed with Missouri State 2 years ago. Didn't end up going there, sat out last year, and we got him this year. Really capable three-point shooter. Hit 5 out of 6 threes in our scrimmage on Saturday, and that's what he does. We needed to add a point guard to counter the strengths of some of our other point guards. We needed to add a point guard who could shoot, and Kevin Baker has definitely given us that.
The girls won their conference championship. Now the football team's starting to win some games. How do you hope the winning ways kind of trickle over to basketball?
Well, it's interesting how winning in athletics can change an entire campus. I mean, it's just the spirit and the atmosphere on campus right now is really moved up a notch, and simply because the way football is playing so well, and it affects everything. So I would hope that our players, we've got a really good bunch of kids, and they cheer for all the teams. And when you have friends, when you cross teams like that and have friendships, then I think you see those other teams playing well, and you see all the positive things that come from it. It just gives you a little more motivation to go out there and do the same thing.
It is a while from now, but you do have a game back out in Dothan at the Civic Center. The lighting might not be so great in there, but it is an exciting time for the viewers to come see some Troy basketball. Talk about being able to go back there this year.
Well, we've done it 2 years in a row, and we were going to do it a third year, and it's been a great experience. Our players really enjoy it because over the Christmas break, all the students are gone, finals in, and gives them a chance to play in a different environment and still be a home game. And they also like going to Buffalo Wild Wings after the game down there in Dothan. So we're definitely going to do it, and until we see something to change, we're going to keep going down to Dothan because there's so many fans and alumni in that Wiregrass region that we just think it's in our best interest to take a game down to them.
Do you hope maybe a better turnout for this year? I know recent years it hasn't been just a packed house to watch it there, but how do you hope to maybe get some more people in the stands?
Well, hopefully, we can get some marketing efforts turned up in one sense. It's such a tricky time of the year with Christmas, all the holiday parties, and last year we had the game a week later, and it was during high school final exams, and that hurt our crowd. So I think what we've got to do is we need to come in there with a really good team. That's our responsibility, and I think that'll be the best way to draw fans when you look at it from just a pure attendance standpoint.
You talked about the winning ways of all the other programs. Are you using that as motivation for your team this year, saying, hey, look what these other programs are doing. This could be us?
We haven't talked about it any specifics like that because every program's so different. When we came in, 12 out of 13 players on scholarship were junior college transfers, and our challenge was to change that, to balance it out with more traditional high school mixed in with junior college transfers, and that's a big change. And what's happened is it's taken us a while to build our roster up. We've been playing really good young players against older players. In the championship game of the Sun Belt Conference Tournament last year, 8 out of the 10 starters in the final game were either junior college transfers or 4-year transfers. So it's been traditionally a junior college and a transfer league. We changed and we did a lot of high school, which I'm totally in agreement with. I like the way we're doing it from a recruiting standpoint because now as a fan, I get to see Wesley Person go from his freshman year to his sophomore year, and then I get to see Jordan Bernardo develop as a player. But it's taken us a while with our roster to do that. So every program's different, every league's different. The Sun Belt League in men's basketball has been one of the best mid-major leagues in the country. Look at Little Rock last year, beat Purdue in the first round. Before that, Georgia State beat Baylor in the first round. We've had 2 first-round picks, one of whom was a lottery pick in the last 3 summers out of the Sun Belt. Not many mid-major leagues can say that. So our league, my point is our league, you better have some players and you better have some young guys develop like Wesley Person and Jordan Bernardo have done. And you better go out and add some guys like Devon Walker and Alex Hicks if you're going to compete in our league right now.
Wesley do? I mean, everybody's so familiar with his game and so many expectations that you place upon it. What are the points of improvement you expect from Wesley?
Well, Wesley's he's a really interesting young man because from a coach's perspective, a lot of time guys like him don't continue and improve, particularly those ones, when I say guys like him, those guys who find success so early in their career. A lot of times they just kind of settle for where they've been and they get patted on the back all the time and they don't grow. But Wesley's totally different. He's expanded his game. He's better off the dribble than he's ever been. The thing that he's really changed about himself is in his physical ability. And I'm one of those guys, my whole coaching career, I've said you really can't change athleticism very much. It's kind of God-given. It's hard to change. You can change it a little, but not much. He's changed it a lot. I think the thing you'll see from him, and maybe it's just his natural maturity kicking in, but he's a much better athlete than he was this time a year ago. He's worked on it. He's grown some. He's stronger. He jumps higher. He's faster. And just I can look back at our scrimmage Saturday. He had 5 rebounds and 3 steals. He got a steal in open court and went in and dunked it. In the past, he would have laid it up. So he's just such a hard-working kid. He doesn't settle for being what he's done to this point or doing what he's done to this point. He wants more. He wants to be, and we've all, I believe in dreaming. He wants to be to Troy what Steph Curry was to Davidson, and I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. And he has that same kind of work ethic, and I think he's got a chance to really even be better, even though he'll have a lot of focus on him defensively. Now with better players out there with him, it's hard to do that.